What's up everybody, and welcome to the 24th Java tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to display your two-dimensional array with using for loops. Alright, so let's get to it. Now above I still have the code from before. So to space it out a little bit, I'm going to do an empty print statement. Alright, now we're going to do our for loops. And remember when you did a regular array, you did a for loop and then just went through the indexes of the array to display them. Now, since we have a two-dimensional array, we actually need a for loop that will go through the rows and then a for loop that will go through the columns. So this is how you do a nested for loop. So you start it out with your counter, set that to 0. We want to start from the beginning of the arrays. And then, in order to display it, we want to have it as long as I is less than nums.length. And the reason this works is because this is the first for loop is going to be the outer for loop, which is going to be counting the rows. And then their inner for loop is going to be counting the columns. Now, what this is, nums.length, because it's right here, that is actually going to bring this number right here. So this is going to be the rows. That's what that length is. And then I'll show you how to also do that for the columns in just a moment. Alright, so as long as I is less than nums.length, which is our amount of rows, we want to increment, obviously. Alright, now we have our outer loop set. Now we need to do the inner loop. Alright, for loop. We'll use J this time as our counter. Set it to 0. We want to start the 0 index column. Now for this one, for the condition, you do as long as J is less than, and you say nums, call our array again, and then you put 0 here, and then dot length. And what this is going to pull is what it represents is your columns, your number of columns. So the top outer loop is going to be your rows and then your columns. And then we want to increment that the same way. And then simply all we want to do is display. And to make it more visually understandable, we'll have array index I J and then we'll call what it is. And remember, so it'll be nums. You want to put your square brackets, and then remember what I represents as the rows. So we're going to put it where the rows belong, which is in the first one. And then J, remember this, that represents the columns. So we'll put it right there. And I just added this so it makes sense. It's just going to say array index at whatever is equal to whatever that's equal to. So let's run that just to see what it looks like here. All right. So you'll see the array index at 0, 0, which actually is this right here, is equal to 6. At 0, 1, we set it up to 10 at the top, and 0, 1 holds the value of 10. And remember, when I created this two-dimensional array with the size of 2 and 4, 2 rows, 4 columns, what it did when I instantiated that array was set all the values to 0, all of them. And then right here I set specific indexes in my two-dimensional array to this. So you'll see that all the other ones, as it went through, hold zeros. And then remember right here I set the one index row to the row index 1, column index 2 to 15. And you'll see it right here, row index 1, column index 2 is set to 15. And then all the other ones are equal to 0. And just to go back to that, we have the outer loop, which goes over the rows, and then the inner loop goes through each column. Let's see if I can pull this picture up to help demonstrate that. So like on the first run of this for loop, what's going to happen is it's going to set I to 0, and then it's going to go within that, and then it's going to say set j to 0. And then right here it's going to display our words, our string here that we set, along with nums at 0, 0. And you'll see here, right here, that's this right here. So what this is doing, what the for loop is doing, is it goes to the 0 row, which is the top one, and then our inner for loop is going to go through each column and then display them. So to display this one, this one, this one, this one, and then our condition right here is not going to be true any longer, because remember, this is the row length. So we're going to go back to our outer loop, which is the rows, and then we're going to be at this row, and then we're going to go into our inner loop again, and then it's going to go through each one and display until this right here is not true. So all that does is go through each row and then every column within that row. The next row, every column within that row. The next row, every column within that row until it reaches the last row. And then by doing that, it's going to go through every index and then be able to display every index. Now, likewise for our names, this one up here, we can use this same for loop. To make it simple, I will just copy this and then change some things within it. Alright, so we want to have our outer loop the same thing, except we want to be using the names. And then, so that's the same thing right here, we're going to use the same one. And then our inner loop, we want to use the names again, not that. And then when we're calling it, we want it to obviously be looking at the right index here. All right, so let's run that. And you'll see right there, we went through array index 0, 0's Adam. So that's going to be row 0, column 1, or column 0. This will be row 0, column 1, right here. Row 0, column 2, right here. And they match. And then, see the end of this curly brace, which signifies the end of that row. Now we start a next row, which is right here. Row index 1, column 0, which is going to be right here. Then we have row index 1, column 1, row index 1, column index 2. So that's going to be how you use the for loops in order to run through an array and display the arrays. So I hope that helped kind of understand that. If you have any questions about how to do anything with the arrays or any questions about the video, leave a comment below or send me a message and I can try and help you the best I can. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.